All right, everybody, welcome back to another Ask a Dev stream. This is made possible by all of our Patreon. Thank you very much for supporting the channel. My name's Kevin. We are on the heels of just launching our first ever playtest, and I am going through all of the feedback, taking a bunch of learnings. We're going to be releasing a devlog about that. That is coming up. Today, we're going to be kind of working towards our combat. So we're just going to continue a bunch of stuff with our critical strikes, trying to get some foundations in place so that whatever we dream up during combat, we can do. Right now, we can't do it easily, and so we need to kind of set that up. As always, the way these dev streams work is there's an open conversation. Right now, Rusty's in the channel. Patreon members hop in. We often chat while we're doing these things. People ask questions, and then we usually will have conversations afterwards as well. So with that, let's hop in to Unreal, which I haven't actually even started yet. So let's get that going. Thanks for being here, Rusty. It's always great to make sure that there's somebody to talk to so that we know if our audio is working. And today we're going to... I have been working since the last dev stream, so I'm going to kind of walk through some of the changes I've made to the crit windows and the crit setup and how it works. I had to redo all of all of the VFX and whether or not I was using gameplay Q notifies or gameplay effects. I think that's worth pointing out why I made some changes there, and then we will kind of go into it. I also realized I think I may have misnamed what we're doing right now. It is possible that this system could be used for critical strikes, but it's also more like it could also be used for a power building system or an energy building system or whatever it is, where if you get a perfectly timed hot reload, it increases your secondary power attack or something like that. So even though these are our windows, we may end up ultimately changing these, and critical strike, just because you hit this attack doesn't necessarily mean you will do a critical strike, is what I'm trying to get at. Your critical strike percentage will probably go up based on your itemization and things like that. So, but let's open things up and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so let's start with the ability. Yeah, actually, let me just show you. I'll just show you first. Okay, if we play, and as usual, if we crash, don't worry, we'll be back. I just have to restart the machine and so on. Hopefully, we have a smooth stream today. Okay, what I want to show you is from where we left off last time. We just got our slashes and we got the blue thing to play, which is great. So what I want you to see now is you'll notice that my swipe is yellow and it goes top down, and you'll notice this little star that plays afterwards. And we got to get sounds in here for all of this stuff. So I'm going to have to go on a sound finding mission because it's a huge part. If you're in battle and you can't see yourself, hearing those sounds will let you know to trigger properly. But the idea is if you hit attack again, right as you see that star within a window, it'll take you to the next level of attack. So let's see if I can do it. All right. Now, the way you know it's the next level of attack is the first one is a swipe down. The second one is a swipe upward and across. Now, the other thing is if I hit a bunch of these in a row, you'll notice that the color of the attack changes. Hold on. So you'll see it's getting more orange. Now it's turning more red. And if you look in the top left, it's actually printing crit 19, but I missed. So when I hit it, I looked up at the left to see the thing that was printing. But if you watch the left, I can't watch the left and the star at the same time. But if you watch that, you'll notice that it's counting up when I hit the crit perfectly. So once you start getting higher, what's happening is the effect is getting hotter and hotter and hotter and changing colors. So I know that I'm at like crit like 20 now or something like this, 25. And then if I miss. Now the other thing that happens is if I attack, you'll notice that it kills it now. It used to be if I spammed it, it would just play it over and over again. Now it stops the effect mid thing and it doesn't even finish. So in order to achieve that, I had to change the way that the ability worked. So let's just walk through that real quick, just so that everybody's caught up to speed. And if we look at our melee ability, okay, so a couple things happen when we come in here. We've had to create a couple new variables, one for crit success. Obviously the print is not there. And then I've also added the idea of doing damage. And here's the idea. When you tap, you don't do damage right away. It's not instant. You do damage after the swipe reaches a certain point. And the idea there is if you're just spamming left click, you're not spamming damage. It's not the idea. We don't want to spam. I would like purposeful and intentional attacks, because my plan is attacks are going to have a timing. So if you hit the timing right, you will have more powerful attacks. Hold on. So to achieve this, I needed a way to prevent spamming. So there's now like a slight window that happens, which is this pending damage window. So if we're not pending damage, we come in here, we make sure it's a pawn and all this stuff. This is whatever, and it spawns our swipe v-effect, which is cool. Then the ability system has a wait delay of 0.3 seconds. Right after the wait delay, we set pending damage. So what that means is there is a 0.3 second window where if you were to attack again, it's not going to do damage. And then also as part of that, we have our print strings. This is all debugging. And then we're going to play our VFX. Now we converted this to a separate function. Reason being is when we come in here, the biggest thing to know is most of this is the same. There's a little bit of a difference where in order to get the swipe to change directions right now, I'm only doing 2 directions. I'm keeping it simple. If you mod by 2, basically check to see if it's odd or even, it will play one or the other. But ultimately it spawns, the big thing is whether it's crit or not, when you attack, it spawns a V effect. This V effect gets spawned just like it was being spawned before, and except now we're storing it. And the reason we're storing it is because we want to be able to delete it if you're spamming left click. So we store it and then we set our color. Okay, so nothing too crazy there. Then what happens is if we're pending damage and we come in here, we're going to destroy the V effect. We're going to set pending damage to false, and we're going to set our crit counts back to 0. We don't even need this. And then we're going to go back through the normal run of everything we were doing before. Now, if the wait delay finishes, then what happens is if we've successfully finished, waited a long enough time for it to actually do damage, so damage isn't instantaneous, then we're no longer pending damage. We've actually done the damage, and then now we're going to apply the damage. Okay? And then while we apply the damage, we're doing our sphere overlap actors. Oh, actually, this isn't applying the damage. This is applying the crit window. Okay? Then we're going to do our sphere overlap. We're going to go through them all. Then we're going to apply our damage. Okay, cool. So that's generally what I've set up now. And that's what prevents a user from spamming. Now, a couple quick notes. There are a few things in here that are going to change, or we're going to have to tune. How long is this delay from the time you click to the time you do damage? Like 0.3 might be too long. We'll figure out what it is. Okay. Then the other piece of this is when we apply our gameplay effect for our crit windows. This is a little bit cleaned up from what it was before. Oh, hold on. I forgot to start perforce. Okay, looks like we're good to go. Okay, so these crit windows, so this is the crit window setup. This is the one that starts the, hey, we're potentially going to allow a crit chance to happen. So this currently is set to 0. Yes, okay, not fully 0, but 0.01, super small. The reason being is we have a delay built into the gameplay ability, right? Which is here, right here, this wait delay. So the crit window starts right when you hit damage. So technically, we don't even really need this crit window setup anymore, because we're putting the delay for the damage based on our timing. I'm keeping it. Maybe we want to alter this timing or something, but that's kind of what's happening there. And then what happens is we put on the strike window. So we could effectively, rather than putting on the crit window setup, we could just put on the strike window, and our strike window is exactly what it was before. It's 0.2 seconds right now. So you have 0.2 seconds to press the window properly. Yeah, so that's kind of the way the setup is set up now, and that's what allows us to not spam damage. So what we need to do today is we need to actually do damage and test some of this. So let's see if we can get damage working today is kind of the goal. All right, so to do and get damage working, you know what? Technically, we should create a new level. We should create a combat test level.
I agree. A little battle arena, yeah.
Yeah, I think we should do it. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, so if we, just because I don't want to mess this up. Why is this? Oh, here we go. So we have, this is the movement obstacle course. We need a combat arena. Do we have one? We have a combat proof. What's in here? Sure, we can save that. That's fine. Yeah, I don't like that. So let's do this. Let's go to our movement obstacle course, and let's duplicate it. And we're going to call this our level combat test, combat gym. Let's go gym. Combat arena. I think you said arena, didn't you? Sorry, combat arena.
Combat arena is fine.
All right,
or a dojo, whatever.
Dojo, yeah, dojo if we want to be really fun. Okay, so to keep this simple, we're basically going to delete everything in here that we don't need, which is a lot. Delete all of that. Maybe
not the background though.
I didn't think I had the background selected. I guess I do. Hold on, I thought I locked this. Invisible. Not that one. We need the bottom one. It's gonna be our floor. We're gonna make this basically just a square room. Let's keep one of each item so that we don't have to hunt for it. So we'll keep one wall climb off to the side. We'll keep one tree off to the side, and we'll keep one jump through platform. I think that's good.
Any destroyable platforms or walls? Is that something you can add inside a game mechanic or a fighting mechanic?
Maybe. So there's really actually, gotta keep deleting that bottom floor. That's actually a really a really good question. Even though we prepped for things like climbing and wall jumping, I think it is possibly going to be very difficult to be fighting while climbing. I'm not sure how easy that's going to be. So the point I'm making there is the idea of being able to climb and stuff may be a traversal thing, right? Like, how do we get to the next zone, whatever it is. It's a post-process volume.
Yeah, or it could depend on the size of the enemy you're fighting. For instance, like bosses in some Metroid game where you have to climb up different areas to actually hit portions of whatever it is. But that's down to design of the enemy, so we're not at that point yet, are you?
No, dude, we're so close. We're so not close to that point. We have so far to go. You know, especially after just even looking at the feedback from the last playtest. It's like, whoa, okay, we have a long ways to go. All right, so let's do something like this. And then we'll shrink this up. And we will have a single room combat gym, which will be good for testing. Combat arena. Okay, now we've got an enemy spawner. We do need that. We don't need our text. We have our player start, and we don't need. I'll keep the teleport. Oh, undo. It's so weird that you can accidentally move the effect within the actor. Alright, and we have our player start. Keep our player start. Alright, 1 square room. Cool. Let's save that. And let's see what it looks like. 1 square room. Okay. How big is it? It's not too big. It's a little big. It's a little big. Let's go a little bit smaller. And then I actually do think, just for kicks, maybe we will put a climbable wall on each end. It might be interesting to see how that plays out. If you're using it to get away from things on the ground or something, for example. And we're going to update this as we discover a lot of different things about how our characters move. Alright, so we need some enemies. So with our enemies, let's go ahead and we need to spawn. Let's spawn 5 enemies. I'm not going to worry about our team IDs. Okay. And then... Okay, they did not spawn though. So we can't do damage if they don't spawn. So that's sort of a problem. Oh. Wait a minute. Where's our NavMesh? Did we delete it? NavMesh bounds volume. No, we didn't delete it. It's here. Let's go perspective. Okay, our NavMesh bounds. There's a weird break in them right here. I wonder where that's coming from. What is it? Build. Where's our regenerate NavMesh? Interesting. Build paths? Did they change that? Like, I don't expect there to be anything over there. Why is that navigable? It's like it's left over from what was there before. I wonder if there's something about... Nope, it's not that one. It's not that one. Okay, so we have hazards and objectives. We don't have any. We have how many walls? That's one wall. That's the ceiling. That's the floor. And that's our climbing wall. We have a plane. Where is this? Oh, that's our back plane. Okay. Recast NavMesh downs. You know what? Let's just delete these. Let's try rebuilding them. Let's add. Hold on 1 second. I need to. Give me 1 second. I gotta close this for noise. Okay. So we need to add in a NavMesh bounds volume. Okay. And then if we zero this out, look at that. It's still there.
Is there a hidden object?
I don't know. That's what I was trying to find. It's kind of wild. I mean, I'm going through the whole outliner to try to. This is everything that's in the scene. There's one wall, two walls. If we move this out, just to make sure, that's clearly not in there. Okay. Then we have a destructible object. That's over there. Moving that didn't change it. That didn't change it either. We have no hazards. We have our character spawn point. We have our enemy spawn point. Parlay playtest character. We don't need that, but that's fine. We have our platform. Moving our platform doesn't affect it either. Teleporter, fine. Tutorial text, we'll delete that. We don't need that. We got another wall, another wall, another wall, another wall, and our directional light, which is way over here. Okay. Plane 3. Post-process volume. Shouldn't matter where this thing is. So we'll just go ahead and do that. And then this recast. I think maybe we just need to rebuild our NavMesh. Which, it looks like they moved. Because it used to be build, let's just try this. That didn't do it either. We need okay, well. We gotta figure out why our enemies aren't spawning. Okay, enemy spawn point. Here we go. Time to do some debugging. This is not what I thought was going to be happening today, but this is the way it goes. So if we go back to our level, our enemy spawn point is clearly set up that, let's see here, enemy spawn point. we are set up to spawn 5 enemies of type Firehead, and they're supposed to be facing left. So in our spawn point, if we come in here, we'll put a breakpoint. What in the world? Okay, so it never hits the stagger spawn. Oh, interesting. What is the window for this thing? Okay, so enemy spawn points have a trigger. And the idea is that the begin play, what is the radius of this thing? Okay, so the idea here is that, here, I'll show you. When we start playing, it's going to begin play, and it's going to be, oh, debug disable all spawns. It's false. Okay, so that's fine. Spawn count should be 5. So we're going to set a timer by event. This is going to be our player detection frequency, which is every 2 seconds. And then with that timer by event, we're going to check for the enemy count. That's fine. And then at the same time, we're also going to check for players. Let's put just breakpoints on all of this stuff. Start spawn and stagger spawn. Okay, and let's just run it through. Okay, so it's checking for players, and the way it checks for players is are we in the active phase? We are in the active phase. We're doing a sphere overlap for players. Okay, and if that's true, which it won't be. Okay, maybe we are in the radius. Okay, so that's true. So then the player is found. And when the player is found, we break. And then we check to see if player's triggered or not. So do we start the spawn? So let's go here and play. We check the enemy count. Check the enemy count. Alright, so we know that's working. We know check for players is working. We know that we are finding the player, but we are not triggered. That part is weird. So, player found, player triggered. How are we setting player triggered? Player triggered should be getting set. Find references by name. We set that to true when we start the spawn. But we're not starting the spawn. So who calls start spawn? Okay, we start the spawn if we're not player triggered. And our spawn count is greater than 0. You know what? I want to see this breakpoint again. So that's the begin play. Okay, so here, player found should be true. Why is player triggered false? Oh, it is false. Okay, yeah. So that would be true. No, that's correct. Hold on, wait a minute. Hold on, wait a minute. Okay, we don't need this breakpoint anymore. 2 seconds in, bingo. So this is true. This is false. And not false is true. And then spawn count is 0. Why in the world is spawn count 0? Spawn count by name. We set spawn count in staggering the spawn. We also set the spawn count in begin play. Interesting. I wonder. Get the user settings. Game difficulty is 1. If the game difficulty is 1, spawn count is 5. The floor of that is 0.5, 0. Okay, so something, all right, awesome, great. Okay, so we're too fancy. If the game difficult, so, okay, there's something that I was doing a really, really long time ago where I was allowing the difficulty of the game to be set by the player. And based on that difficulty, it would spawn more enemies or less enemies with more or less health, depending on what that difficulty was. So this Lyra game difficulty is 1. Truncated is 1. And so what's happening is if we take this lookup table, when the game difficulty, so we need the game difficulty to be 10 is what we need. Okay. I think that's what it is. That will at least get us going. Or we can, just for the purpose of this, we could take this out of the testing. So let me see if I can, that's not what I wanted. Let me see if I can find where to set the game difficulty. But I can't get to that menu anymore. Okay. So let's just change this. Let's take this and multiply this by 10. Because I think this lookup table, if we look at our game difficulty mapping, when it's 10, it's 10. Point 1. It's kind of weird that this is this mapping. Like, that just seems weird. Let's just go 1, 2, 5, 7, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and 100. And we'll have to figure out if we ever spawn some enemies and all of a sudden there's 100 of them, we'll know that that's what's happening. Okay, now we're spawning. All right, whew, old systems. All right, we got 5 enemies. Okay, so now that we have 5 enemies, there's 2 things we want to be able to do. We want to be able to damage them. Okay. Also, where are their health bars? Also, if I tap this really fast, this guy should never get damaged. He doesn't. That's what we want. Because it's stopping. I have to let it go through in order to do damage. But the fact that we don't see their health bars is somewhat troubling. And the fact that we're not getting hits is also troubling. Like, we're not getting hit effects. Okay, this is what we need to troubleshoot. This is what I wanted to troubleshoot today. Okay, so a couple things. What is going on with... So it's basically 2 hits and they're done. Okay, so what's happening there is if I perma spam attack, it's not attacking yet. And then when I stop, that's 1 hit. And then if I swipe again, that becomes a 2nd hit, and that's enough to kill it because there's enough damage in this attack. Now, let's see if we can figure out what's happening with our health bars. And let's just see if it's limited to just our fireheads or... Oh geez, I forgot these guys actually attack. Okay, this is kind of fun actually. Although, Oh, wait, I gotta swipe. Okay, so it's not limited to just the fireheads. That's kind of fun. Let's see what happens with our flybats since we're just having fun right now. Oh, goodness. Okay, so these guys do damage. You'll see when they hit the ground, they do damage. And I die. I die miserably. This game's gonna be insane. Okay, okay. Alright, now they don't have health bars either, so we just have a general health bar problem. Let's see what's going on with this. So health component. We have a health component. Our enemy base. I swear I saw health bars on our enemies at one point not too long ago. And I'm trying to think about what changed. If we take a look at UI, we have, this is the health bar. We check our reference editor. This is used by, oh, there's an object redirector here. Paper enemy health bar. Oh. Something happened. I must have deleted it on accident. It looks like our paper enemy health bar. Let's take a look here. Because I was trying to clean up code. So let's do enemy health. That doesn't make me nervous at all. Paper. I must have deleted it. What a bummer. Okay. Perforce history to the rescue. Let's take a look and see what I did. Tools, connection, view history. This is the depot. This is why I like Perforce. So we have, this is all playtest stuff. Project files, pack builds, entitlements, fixes for what loads, controller support, dash cooldown, removing, cleaning up files not used for the rend. That sounds scary. Let's look at that one. Okay. Enemy. Okay, we're not going to do this right now. This could take a while. So we're going to have to go back and figure out where our enemy health bars went. It looks like I may have accidentally deleted them in trying to clean up the code base. So what we are going to do is we're going to figure out why we're not doing damage though. So let's see if we can at least get that back. So what happens is in our melee attack base, when we apply the damage, that's our crit window. This is where we apply our blossom damage. Blossom damage. I don't like that this is Death Blossom. But we should be able to fix this. This puts on a gameplay cue for damage taken with one modifier in the execution, which is the damage execution. Okay, but let's take a look at damage taken. So if we go to gameplay cue for damage taken, my guess is one of the burst sounds is missing. Damage taken. So here's oh, interesting. We have multiples. We have characters and we have Zephyr damage taken, so we don't know which one's being used. So let's open both. And then let's put in a breakpoint for both of these. And see which ones. Okay, we are doing the Zephyr one, which was the old project name. Okay, that's the problem. So this GameCube notify latent is using an execute. The execute is checking to see if we hit the actor, spawns pop-up numbers, which we're also not seeing. We want to fix that. Damage taken audio. Oh. Play 2D sound. Which 2D sound is this playing? The sound is either MSS projectile. Okay, here's my guess. This thing is using the wrong attenuation. Is there an attenuation setting in here? Or is it in the sound? Look at this attenuation. Okay, so I think we need the let's try this one. We need to figure out which one is which. Reference viewers. This thing is being used by snowballs and the buzzes. Okay, cool. Okay, so that should be the Zephyr default, and then if we go, is that all it was? Let's just see. Nope, that's not all it was. Okay, are we actually playing this sound? Are we trying to play that sound? Does not look like it. So why aren't we playing that sound? Is it because oh well, we're skipping the sound here. Why were we skipping that sound? Okay, that's not it either. Damage sound. Huh. If we browse this, what does this sound like? Okay, it just sounds like a splat. So we're not hitting this on burst. This is our damage audio. We're not hitting any of those actually. Lyra number, what is this? Oh, we don't have a Lyra number pop component? Is that what's happening? No, it's not even hitting that breakpoint. On execute. Player state. Okay, we gotta step through this. Let's go one by one. Here we go. Alright, so we hit that. We do our parent. We cast player state. And we end ability. So that is failing right off the bat. That's not good. Our gameplay queue notify parameters is getting the instigator actor from the effect context. And it's casting it to a player state. I want to know what is it that we're passing in and why does it need to be a player state? What is this? Oh, this is checking to see if it's the local player. Oh, I see. So the idea is it's only going to show the damage numbers for the local player. Okay, I understand that, but the instigator actor in this case is currently set to the firehead. That's kind of weird. So in our melee attack, when we apply the gameplay effect, we're applying it to, but we don't have an effect context. Let's make one. Make an effect context. And I feel like we've done this somewhere else before, so let's just find references by name. See if we can copy this. So the grenade does it. Sticky grenade does it. Projectile base does it. Let's check a look at projectile base. Instigator, get actor, ability system, contact. Okay, so this is pretty straightforward. So let's just do this. Okay, and then we're going to plug this in to here, but we're not going to use the instigator. We are going to use this guy. Okay, let's try that. So we come in here. So that worked. Because it's the Lyra player state. Okay. Are we good to go then? We got valid. I didn't hear a sound though. Nope, still not hearing sound. So, okay, and we're not triggering any of our sounds. So, but we are getting to this evaluate weak spot, I believe. And if A is locally controlled is false, which it's not, okay, because this is who we are. So we shouldn't even be getting here. So we're going to double check that. So when we come through here, one swipe. Oh. So we're not even getting to, oh, it's because this Lyra, it's got to be this Lyra pop number generator's not here. It's got to be it. Okay. False. Yep, that's it. Okay. So who needs to have that? This is on the hit result actor. So our enemies need to have a pop hit result apparently. Did not know that. So file save. Let's just save everything just in case. Okay, and then let's check our enemy. Game. Where are we? It's weapons, abilities, game, 2D enemy base. I do not see a pop number component. This inherits from paper default. Let's try adding it here. Pop. Niagara number pop component. I don't know if I'm allowed to add this to a paper character, but we're going to give it a shot anyways. Okay, so that is not... So that didn't work. Let's bring back our thing. Oh, it's supposed to be on... Oh, okay. We put it on the wrong thing. It doesn't go on the enemies. It goes on the player. Oops. Alright, so let's do that. Let's go here. Enemy. We don't need this here. We need this on the player. Compile. Go back. 2D pawn hero. That makes sense because the player sees it. So we're going to add this pop. Compile and save. Check that out. Why are we not getting that? Get component by class from the controller. Okay, let's do this again. Alright, so we got our player state, that's good. Is locally controlled is true. And our controller is unknown from the pawn. That's interesting. Our instigator is the player state. Our pawn is a 2D hero pawn. What is our controller? And why is this set to none? Alright, I want to do something. Let's print string. Let's get the display name. I want to see if this is actually none, truly none. Which is weird. So let's just see. Lyra player controller 0. Interesting. Lyra player controller 0. So the okay. Oh my goodness. So the problem is the number pop. Oh gosh, sometimes the way that this stuff is set up is crazy. Okay. So what's happening is our player controller is a Lyra player controller. However, it does not have this Lyra pop component because that is actually on the pawn, not the player. So what we could do is skip the controller and get it from the pawn if we just did this. Now, if this works, I still have questions, which it didn't work. Oh, interesting. We may have put the wrong one on. Lyra number pop. Where's our 2D hero pawn? We put on a Niagara number pop component. Pop. But I don't have the option for the other one. So that could be because it's in a plugin. So let's change this to pop. See if this does it. Oh, goodness. Print string. Get the display name. What is the pawn? $2D hero pawn. Clearly that's the 2D hero pawn. And the 2D hero pawn does have one of those components. So if that's the case, then we should at least be getting the true for valid here. We are. Okay, hold on. We are getting it. So if that's the case, then what is going wrong? We're evaluating the weak spot here. We're breaking the hit. Specifically what we're checking to see is we're checking to see if the raw magnitude, interesting, which is 0, is greater than 0. Interesting. Okay, so the way damage is working then is if we go to our melee attack base, we are applying this gameplay effect to self. And the gameplay effect to self that we're applying is this blossom. The blossom is has a magnitude modifier of 100. But 100 times a -1 is -100. So it's like the calculations are backwards from what they were originally meant to be. So if we just change this to +1, interesting. I want to know what this is. Let's put this breakpoint back in here. Oh, no, wait. Our magnitude was 0, wasn't it? Yeah, our raw magnitude is 0. And that is coming off of the gameplay cube parameters. So our gameplay cube, where's our gameplay cube parameters set? They're set. This is our modifier. Modifier magnitude is a scalable float of 100. And our multi-attack base is it needs to come in from the parameters, which is the gameplay cube parameters. That's the effect context. Make gameplay cube parameters. Interesting. Raw magnitude. Let's try 1. And then let's plug that in instead. Make effect. What does this return? This returns a gameplay cube parameter structure. apply gameplay. This may not have what we need. Gameplay effect. Gameplay effect. Gameplay effect. Apply gameplay effect to target. Context, target. That doesn't have it in it. Make effect context. Set. Members of effect context handle. But I don't have any pins. Let's see if anybody else does this anywhere. Alright, hero death. What are we doing? We break the data. We make the effect, execute gameplay cue with parameters on owner. Okay. That's not really what we want though. Break gameplay cue to parameters. Raw magnitude. That's on burst from the projectile. That's also on burst. Execute gameplay cue on actor. Burst. Interesting. So what is happening here is these gameplay cues are, it's like they've split out the whole purpose of the gameplay effect. So in some of these cases here, like these damages and stuff like this stuff is, they're playing the gameplay cues separately from the gameplay effects. So I don't know that this is the way we want to do this, because it seems to circumvent kind of the way the whole gameplay effect system works. Yeah, because they're doing the cue that they're executing is based on the tag. That's getting it. That's setting it. And this is in like the sticky grenade, for example. Okay. That seems kind of nuts. So we're applying the gameplay effect, and then our game cue notify latent damage taken. I don't think we should be doing this way. This is just checking to see that if we have done damage greater than 0. So if we're hitting this, effect context, break the hit result. We need to find where our damage value is basically what we want to do. I don't want the raw magnitude. I don't want the normalized magnitude. I don't want any of that. I want to know what the numbers come from here. Okay, so in here, here's our hit result. Distance, time, trace start and end we don't have. Hit actor, we don't have anything because we didn't make a hit result. So none of this stuff is good because we didn't make a hit result. So that's not going to help us. Gameplay cue parameters normalized. Magnitude is 1. Raw magnitude is 0. We have damage taken. Location. We don't have normal. We don't have instigator. We don't know. All this stuff is not filled in. We do have the ability level. I don't like this. I don't like this at all. So that's the level. We could do that. We could do it separately. Oh, okay, so for the purposes of getting it to work so that we can wrap up today's stream, because I do need to get going, let's do this. Let's go to our sticky grenade. We're going to grab this. We're going to come back. We're going to come in here, and we're going to execute a gameplay cue on actor. And the target that we're going to do raw magnitude of 1. We're going to take our effect context, which is here. We're going to feed that in. We're going to use the tag that we want to use for this is the same tag that we have on this thing, which is gameplay cue damage taken Zeraphine. So in here, we're going to go damage taken Zeraphine. Okay. And then, oh sure, we'll set this to 1 just to have it. And then the instigator is going to be, let's use, do we have a reference to ourselves yet? No, we don't. We'll do this. Get actor info. Get avatar actor from actor info. Is that the one I want? That's going to be our instigator. Get. Ooh. And then the location. Let's get that as our attack position. We'll feed that into here. And then inside of our GA melee sword attack, we're not going to, or inside of this GE damage blossom, GE damage melee, we're not going to put this gameplay cue on. We're going to remove it. Okay, let's see if we're still hitting that point. We've got errors. So the target and the gameplay tag. Oh, we put the gameplay tag in the wrong place. So let's get rid of this. Let's go damage taken, Seraphine. Okay, and then the target is going to be us, I believe, which is actor. Compile. Well, it compiled. That's something. Okay, we hit this weak spot. What is our raw magnitude is still 0 though. Interesting. Our raw magnitude is clearly not 0 here. I want to see something. Let's change that magnitude to, I want to see this normalized magnitude to like 0.87, just so we know that it's actually, that part of it is coming through. It's not, so we're not coming in from where we think we are. Hold on, let's try one more thing. Let's just play through this. Nope. Are we hitting this? Okay, we're not hitting that. How are we not hitting that? Does game queue notify latent what? Seraphine damage taken. Melee attack base is applying gameplay effect damage blossom. Are we hitting this? Oh, because the ability's ending too fast. So we're applying the gameplay effect. We're evaluating the weak spot. It's interesting, we shouldn't be doing that. And then here we go. Okay, we're definitely supposed to be applying this, but when we do, we don't hit, we're not hitting our breakpoint in that damage taken, so hold on. Oh, that's because, okay, I know why. We're doing it on burst. So let's do execute gameplay queue on, oh, it's a burst. Is it always, burst is my only option. All right, so let's go back to this. Let's just take all of this, copy it to the burst. Is this what we're hitting? We are. This is the burst. So now we're broadcasting breakout data. What? We're casting the target to a character. This is all left over from. This is all Lyra stuff. This is crazy. Let's just hijack this for a second. Where's this bug? I mean, where's this compiler? Oh, my target. Let's convert this to a validated get. Collapse nodes. Wait, I don't see the option there. That's super weird. Okay, we'll just do this. I am going to have to go back and figure out exactly, like this does not seem, there's a mixed system in here that is definitely not. Okay. Okay, it is working, sort of. I know it's hard to see. The way we know it's sort of working, we're not getting sounds, we're not getting a bunch of stuff. Reason being, but we know it's actually working because something is working. We have made progress. I think we figured out what's going on. But basically, when we attack, you see the camera shake. If I make this bigger, so when I attack, this camera shake wasn't happening before. That camera shake is coming from within this. It's coming from within that on burst. So I got to figure out what's going on with, this is the game queue, notify latent damage taking, class defaults. This is supposed to do the gameplay queue damage taken. Burst effects. Burst camera shake. Here's our camera shake. We don't have a sound filled in. That's why we don't hear anything. So if we add a sound, let's do I wonder what that sounds like. Sure, why not? Let's just see. Yep. Okay. So when I hit that character, I don't know if you can hear the sounds from the desktop, but it played this ringing sound. So it's like it sounds like a Mario coin mixed with an old computer sound. Okay. I know that seemed like a whole lot of troubleshooting, but I mean, that's what this is. These are dev streams. This is what I do when I'm trying to figure this stuff out. So basically, to summarize, to bring all this back, effectively what is happening is we have a mismatch in our gameplay effects and our game queue notify latents. And what is happening is, in the case of the way Lyra was originally set up, a lot of times they've often broken out the visuals from the damage that's being applied, and they're applying the visuals separately as a game queue notify, and thereby passing in the raw magnitude and the normalized magnitude and all those things as a separate deal. I have not dug around enough in here to decide whether or not I like that setup. Part of the whole point of the gameplay effect is that stuff should all just be on it. It should just be there. But I think my initial instinct is, I think it's probably the cleanest or simplified version of this is that we just simplify the game queue notify latent so that it's not checking for raw magnitudes or anything like that. If damage is being applied, it works. And maybe we check to see if there's an actual value in the damage number, but rather than trying to check raw magnitude or any of those kinds of things, I think the reason for the raw magnitude is they do change the color of the numbers that pop up over the character's head based on the magnitude of the number. So if the number is super large or whatever, the numbers get brighter or something like that. We'll have to look into it. That's effectively what's going on, but we have at least re-enabled our damage numbers. Well, not the numbers. We re-enabled doing damage. Two things we need to do. I broke our health bars, our enemy health bars, when I was trying to clean up the project and simplify the code. So I need to go back and bring back enemy health bars. And then I need to dig into this system a little bit so that I can decide what is the clean way I want to work. Do I want to stay with the Lyra paradigm, or do I want to simplify this a lot? So that's kind of that. Rusty, before we wrap up today, did you have any questions for the actual stream?
No, it was maybe just one thing. Like in the arena, I was thinking maybe if you put this player start in the middle, that way you can have enemies from either side, and you don't have to go to the right before you can attack enemies on the left. Just a little quality of life for testing purposes, really.
Yeah, I think that is a great point. I think this arena is going to change a lot, because what's ultimately going to happen is we'll move this player start to do whatever makes sense for testing. I think ultimately what's going to happen is this is going to be like a mini mode where all of the enemies can spawn and you can fight them all here. So
yeah,
I'm gonna have to figure out how that goes. So this may stay just a square room, but as we figure out how we're testing enemies and what the enemies are, this may have to be updated and changed. So
yeah,
cool. Very cool.
You seem to have like a lot of issues with the Lyra system. Is that something that I mean, given the headaches that it's giving you, do you regret using it, or is creating everything from scratch a bigger headache for you?
I would say I think the Lyra system is... I don't regret it. It has a lot of overhead for what this game has eventually become. There is probably an argument to be made going back to just pure gas-based systems. However, if I do ever want to do like a stretch goal of multiplayer or online network players or things like that, having it in there won't be bad. Part of the struggle is it's just a beast of a system, and you have to understand how somebody else's brain works when they made it. Combined with as I learn it, I realize I'm using it wrong. And so then I have to go back and do it the quote Lyra way versus the right way, whatever. So no, I don't regret it. I don't think I regret any part of the learning on this, simply because I know a lot more about every single thing we figure out. I am more and more comfortable with the gameplay ability systems and gameplay effects, and it just solidifies in my mind what's going on. So far, no, it does slow me down a little bit, and I do often wonder, am I using it the wrong or the right way? And so when I find something that's broken, rather than hacking it to work, trying to take the time to go back to figure out what the quote Lyra way is of doing it would be the better use if I'm going to stay on the Lyra base. So I just need to spend some time figuring out in which cases they're using gameplay effects, and in which cases they're breaking out the actual visuals from the gameplay effect that actually does the damage, and why. And with that understanding, then I can make my implementation either match theirs or decidedly choose to deviate. So nope, I don't regret it. It does make it slow sometimes, but it's also why I've made the comment before, like Epic's like, yeah, we have this project, the Lyra project, it's based on how we did, do Fortnite, you can just pick this up and start with it. I'm like, no, you can't. No, you can't. That is not a lightweight framework to start with, by any means, in my humble opinion. So maybe for somebody else, but for me, it's not. You need C++, you need a solid understanding of blueprints, and you have to understand a crazy ephemeral setup where characters are being loaded after the pawns are being possessed and visuals are being added after that and all these kinds of things. So anyways, nope, I don't regret it. Part of the whole point of doing this is learn, so it's great. And I'm hoping that this will provide the foundation for us to potentially do some cool stretch goals later. So very long. No.
Fair enough. Okay.
So
Yeah, no, that's great. It's a good answer.
all right, cool. So with that, we're gonna wrap up today's dev stream. We went a little bit long because I did want to at least get something accomplished today. That would be cool. I am going to be working on getting the next devlog up and going. Basically our playtest review. As always, thanks for checking out the stream. Thanks for checking out the channel, being part of this whole adventure. I hope everybody has an amazing rest of your day, week, etc. I'll catch you on the next one. Take it easy.